Welcome to Read, Eat, Travel, Repeat, the book club and podcast with your hosts, Sarah, Kit, and Marianne, three friends who talk about all things books, food, and travel. Welcome, readers, eaters, and travelers to Read, Eat, Travel, Repeat, the podcast and book club where books take us beyond the page. I'm Sarah.
I'm Kit.
And I'm Marianne. Today we'll be talking about the books we've read recently and books we think you need to add to your TBR pile.
This episode is spoiler-free, so if a book you haven't read yet is mentioned, don't worry, we're not going to spoil it for you. However, we are adults, and we will definitely be saying some adult things. I apologize in advance. It won't be the worst episode, though, for it.
No.
I promise.
No.
Not till we pick your unhinged book, I'm sure.
On that, not till later.
Yeah.
On that illustrious note, Sarah, what books did you read this month?
All right. I read, I was listening before. I finished My Husband's Wife. I love that book. Alice Feeney. Is that how we decided it's Feeney?
Yes.
She has very quickly become one of my favorite thriller
Right.
authors. And I did not love the first one of hers I read, Beautiful, Ugly. But I also just finished another one, which I will talk about next month. But I'm like literally on a kick of hers. But My Husband's Wife was so good.
So good, right?
The twist you don't see coming. And you
told
think
you.
you do. You think you do. And then you're like,
Yep.
what? I am just amazed at how people think of this. I also starting to wonder about her own marriage. Because all the
What
books,
is happening in her
all
life?
the books that I've read are literally like the husband is never, he's just an asshole.
Yeah. That's
Like,
the only book of hers that I've read, I think. So that's my only reference point.
Even I don't know, it not always the asshole, but he's not the it's always like the marriages are not good. There's always an issue with the marriage kind of thing. But definitely read that. Loved the setting of that one. She's just really good about that was the one that took place at Spyglass House, which even though it wasn't like haunted, it still was a unique house. So it was kind of cool like that. And then I listened to Love Rebooted by Katie Summers. It was a super cute free Audible. I love the free Audible ones. Actually discover a lot of really good authors that way. Took place in Scotland, if I remember right.
I love Scotland.
Finn and Liv, they are uni friends, and something happens and they drift apart. And then they're both like, I love that they're both techies. Like her job is like, she's a serious, like high up tech manager. The fact that he even says she's better than her, like, love that.
Okay.
They both have glow ups after uni. They were super cute together. She is the bigger girl, so we've got that going again. It took me a hot second to realize, but their nicknames for each other in college. Also, they love Lord of the Rings, like obsessed. They call each other Stan and Ollie.
Oh, that's fun.
Because her real name is Olivia. And so he started calling her Ollie, and then she calls him Stan. So when they reconnect 10 years later, it's like Finn and Liv. Like, what? It takes a second. But I'm like, oh, if you're an Oliver Hardy fan, like I grew up with my dad, Stan and Ollie makes perfect sense. So super cute book. Second chance, friends to lovers, that whole thing. Love the glow up. Love that she's like a super confident, bigger girl who has a kick-ass job. Story Collector did our whole episode on this one. Absolutely loved it. I did The Guncle by Stephen Raleigh. I loved that book. It was I want to read the next one. And yes, that one part is horribly sad. Like I did cry.
With the hospital?
Yeah. You just Patrick's life is just it's been a struggle,
Yeah.
And you just feel bad for him and the things that he's had to endure. But Maisie and Grant are super cute. I love that he calls Grant Grantelope.
Yes.
He's trying to get nicknames for these kids. They're his niece and nephew. It took me a second to figure out. At first you learn that his best friend has died, but then you learn his best friend married his brother.
Yes.
So it's his best friend and his sister-in-law. So he actually knew her first, and then she met his brother through him, but he obviously is gay Uncle Patrick. So that's why he is Gup, which I also think is the best nickname.
I love in books when like the characters have nicknames for each other.
Yes.
I don't know. That's like one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And it's just for him, it's super cute because I don't know, he is a gay out of work actor living in Palm Springs.
Yes.
It's so perfect.
He's such a stereotype.
Oh, such a stereotype. But the kids are adorable, and I love the way it deals with grief in a funny way.
Mm.
We've read a couple of books I feel like that, but
Yeah.
this one, because you have the kids. You have the kids involved in this one. And then I went a trip down memory lane, and I listened to Delirium by Lauren Oliver
Oh, okay.
and Pandemonium.
Oh,
It
wow.
has been years since I have read those, and it makes me happy to look at my shelf and know that I have an arc for Delirium, like Lauren Oliver's,
Yeah.
like before
Like,
she
I've got, like, a
became.
section.
I know,
Yeah.
I love her.
Mm.
I still have Before I Fall. That was the very first
That was
arc
her
I
very
ever
first
got.
one.
Yes.
Yeah. Um,
I remember I
I
was so
still
mad at
loved
that book.
it. It still kind of holds up, I feel like. I mean, there's some things that are not so much, but the big one that drives me crazy, and I'm like, okay, I'm listening to the audio. You remember? You guys might not remember, but it's the one thing in the arc that drove me crazy. She goes swimming with Alex, and she talks
Yes.
about having her shoes in her hand and putting them on the sand. And half a
Oh.
page later, the shoes are dragging her down in the water. And I
Oh,
thought,
yeah.
ooh,
Oh
I'm
my
so
God.
curious to see if
Like,
that's
did you
still.
fix it?
No,
Yes,
it's still there.
It's still there.
It's still there in the audio. And I'm like, how does this
How
not
did
get.
no one say anything?
Oh,
Oh, I
'cause
know.
I'm like, maybe I missed something, but there should still be some sort of maybe they weren't in her hand or something, but
Yeah.
it feels like she talks about setting them in the sand. And I was like, is it? No, and that continued. And I'm like, no. And then I'm like, I should have said something when we were ARC readers, and we could have been
Yeah.
like, hey.
Hey, by
The
the
other
way.
thing, the other thing that drove me crazy, the whole first book, we call her Hannah, a
Okay.
friend, because
Uh-huh.
there's Lena and
Yeah.
Alex and Hannah. The second book, she's Hannah. The audio narrator, I don't know if maybe she narrated it the first time and nobody caught it. And they're like, no, and maybe Lauren Oliver's like, her name's Hannah, it's not Hannah. It's Hana. I remember that.
Interesting.
But I was
Okay.
like, oh, she's Hannah in my brain. I don't
Yeah.
know why but loved it. I didn't get book 3 done this month, so I can't talk about it now, but
Can't talk about all of them.
I know I did get all of them. I mean, it's the whole premise of this series is living in a world where love is a disease. And I always thought Lauren
Yeah.
Oliver explained that so well, that love is really the root of everything. Anger, hatred, jealousy. I
All of
mean,
it.
not just the good things, but the bad things that happen if somebody's in love and then they're too jealous or whatever. And I always thought that was cool. And so early dystopian YA,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That,
was
like,
really.
there was so many at that time.
Yeah.
Like, we
Uh,
really were, like, in the, like, thick
Oh,
of it.
yeah. Yeah. But it was such a cool story and
Yeah.
taking place in Portland, Maine. And I remember literally for the entire
That's
first book.
so weird because that's where Monica Wood is from, and I
Oh,
just
really?
looked up. Yes, she's from Portland, Maine, and she said there's a huge writing community there.
Yeah.
She says
I think
she
that's
says
where
you can't.
Lauren's from too.
Yeah, she says you can't swing a cat without hitting a writer in Portland, Maine. So
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So
she,
highly recommend that, even if you're not a young adult. It's still a good series. Just it brings up some questions, I thought.
absolutely
Um,
that was and her writing is just so beautiful.
I just love her writing. I know I've been going back and kind of revisiting. I read
And
when I
if
read
I
Panic.
remember correctly, and I know I'm stealing your time here or
No,
something,
you're fine.
but she wrote that all like in a notes app on her
Yeah.
Yeah.
iPhone
Yeah.
Yeah.
on the subway.
Yep.
You know, it was
Something
like,
crazy like that.
yes,
Yeah, we haven't talked to her in forever.
I know, right?
Ugh. And then I read Just My Luck by Emily Wood. I ordered this one because number one, the cover looks really cool. Number two, the title. I was like, oh, I'm going to read something luck-like in
Yeah.
March. The cover was like a girl and a guy in front of a horse stall with horses, and I was like, okay.
You're like,
It was
Sounds really
cute.
familiar.
It was cute. I ordered it off our bookshop, and it was a new release. Like it just came out. I think
Okay.
I ordered it the day it came out. Super cute. Sloane has a bit of bad luck, of course. I felt like the bad luck didn't follow her as much as I thought based on the title. She goes to her amazing aunt's farm in Salem, Massachusetts. So it's called Salem Stables, and works. And of course, she meets Parker, who is totally grumpy sunshine. He is a jerk, but there was a lot going on. Like Parker's backstory was kind of heavy. Hers, there was some random things that came up, but they came up at the beginning, but didn't really have a big place. But it
Mm.
was cute. It's her first rom-com, and so I think I would check out more by her.
Yeah.
Because I did like it. So, and then, my students recommended this to me. Okay.
How did you feel about it?
And there is a chance, Bailey, that you may be listening because you are a very mature senior. And I know that you might listen to our podcast.
Oh, Bailey.
But the other one who did it to is Carly, and she's a sophomore. And they're like, they came up to me one day and they're like, Miss Haycox, you need to read. Have you read Deep End by Allie Hazelwood? I'm like, no, I've read like literally all her other ones, except I didn't read Bride yet.
Yeah, I haven't
But
read
I've
that one
read
yet
the
either.
Theatrically Yours and Love Hypothesis
Yeah.
and all that. And they're like, we need you to read it so you can tell us what you think. I was like, okay. Like, I know Allie Hazelwood's kind of, hot, but
Yeah.
oh my gosh. I went up to her the next day and I was like, Carly, does your mother know you read these? It might be my favorite Allie Hazelwood though.
It's so good.
It's
right?
so good, but the beginning pages are
It does not pull any punches. Like
no,
you
it's
go,
like
dive right in.
it's like
Literally.
S&M. There's S&M.
Yeah.
But there also wasn't. I expected it to be way worse.
Mm-hmm.
But I have read 50 Shades of Grey, so I was expecting like
it's
serious
like
S&M. It's like she
I don't
just
want to say
wants people to-
tasteful. Tasteful is not
It
the right
is.
word, but
But-
like it kind of is, right? It's sparing.
Yeah,
like used
she
sparingly.
basically was like likes it when he holds her hands above her head. Like I was
Yeah,
like,
like
that's
it was-
like S&M light. Like you're not.
Yeah, like it's not.
But love the premise being that it was collegiate swimmer and diver at Stanford University. So I'm like, never read anything about swimming. Scarlett, also known as Vandy, her last name's Vandermeer, so everyone just calls her Vandy.
Mhm.
She is a diver. I know nothing about competitive diving. It was absolutely fascinating. Like there's so many athlete books out there, athlete rom-coms. I've never read one about swimming. It was fascinating. So she's on the team, but she, of course, has had some trauma. She hurt herself doing a dive. She explains literally all the dives in there. So she's kind of been struggling this season. And her best friend is dating the super hot swimmer whose name is Lucas. And he's also Swedish, like Swedish Olympian.
Yes.
Yes,
he is.
He is very hot. And he's a little into being a little rougher. And the best friend learns that she also likes it a little rough. And so when they break up, she's like, hey, I think that you two should like scratch an itch, basically. But of course, they get together and it becomes way more than that. But it was so good. I could not put this book down. Like I was reading it on my Kindle and I read it for a good chunk of the school day.
Oh, gosh.
When my kids were
Okay.
reading, I was like, so I
shall read.
Yeah, and I guess I just forgot how much I really like Allie Hazelwood. I like her writing.
Her books are so catchy. Like
I only read like one of her first ones. It's
And
been
the
a really long
women-
time since I've read
The
any
women
of
are
hers.
She hooked
smart as
me-
hell. Smart as hell. Like they are.
She hooked me right in because that one was just Ray and what's his face fanfic.
Yes.
Ben
The
Solo.
Love
and-
Hypothesis.
yeah, like done. Like, are you telling
they-
me? Yeah.
They have a little cameo in this book.
Oh, do they?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Why do I
awesome.
not
think
remember
it's
that?
them.
I
They're
read
the-
this book a while ago, though.
The teachers. It's either them or the
Okay.
ones from the second one. I can't remember because it said,
I have
I
to go.
saw
I read
somewhere.
it like when it first came out.
Yeah.
Like I like sped read it.
yeah. But she, what I do love about her is they're always women in STEM,
Mhm.
like incredibly intelligent. And so Vandy, she is an incredibly intelligent pre-med student, also doing competitive diving at the collegiate level, going to the Olympic trials, things like that. Like she's really high up. And,
Yeah.
And I like that Allie Hazelwood recognizes like you can be smart and beautiful and athletic.
Mhm. And athletic. You could be all the
You
things.
can be all of them. And that's awesome. So yeah, so that's it was kind of lengthy. I read a lot this month, but all excellent books. But
It's because you read books that were normal length instead of those
I
cute
did.
ones you've been reading the last couple months.
I know, seriously. All right. So Marianne, what did you read? What do you have on your list?
Okay, so I had a really mixed bag of books this month. Had some that I was really disappointed in and some I really loved. The first one of the month, these are in chronological order because I was too lazy to put them in worst to best or whatever.
Yep.
But I am starting with one of the worst, which is a DNF, was Big Dumb Eyes by Nate Bargatze, who I've seen him on like TikTok and stuff, and
Is
he's
he the
pretty
comedian?
funny. Yeah, he's a comedian.
Yeah. Okay.
But the book was not funny.
Oh
And
no.
I was just like driving to work listening to this because I was like one of those things where I'm going on Libby just trying to find something to listen to on my drive to and from work.
Mhm.
And I'm like, this isn't funny. I don't know if
Did
it's because
he? Oh, sorry. I said,
well,
did
go
he
ahead.
narrate it?
Yes.
So it feels like she should like nail the delivery at a bare minimum.
Yes.
Like,
So I don't know if maybe because I'm used to seeing him in little snippets on like TikTok or
Yeah.
whatever, that when he's telling a longer story, and I looked at other people's reviews, and I was not the only person who felt this way. So yeah, so that was a DNF for me. I still follow him on TikTok and think he's funny,
Right,
but
right.
this book just didn't do it. I read Skylark, which is apparently like a pretty big book, but I had it as an arc, but I read it after it came out. And it's a multi-timeline story. It takes place in Paris, and it has to do with like all of the like the catacombs underneath the streets of Paris. It was really interesting. It's been a few weeks since I read it, so I don't remember like a lot of the details, but I do remember it was like a really beautiful story.
Who is that one by? Because there's a few Skylar. Is it
Sarah McLean?
Paula McLean?
Paula McLean. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I was like, because there's a few, but I was like, I know that it's not. Yeah. Okay.
Then, so that was really good. What the Wind Knows, which is one of the Ireland books that was recommended to us by Amy Harmon. That was really good. It's another time. I don't know what it is about Ireland and time travel. It seems like there's a lot of books with time travel. It was really good. Part of it's set back during like the Easter Uprising in Ireland, and kind of like this hidden identity that this girl from like the 21st century goes back to Ireland, but there's like this whole like hidden identity type of thing, time travel mystery to be solved, and it was really good. Enjoyed it a lot. Catherine Seton. My next book is The Shippers by Catherine Center. This is an arc. I love Catherine Center. She writes the best banter. And this one takes place, it's friends to lovers. They haven't seen each other in like 4 years because he left and moved to London without telling her, and he shows up at her wedding to some other guy and stops the wedding. And
as one does.
yeah. Then he leaves again and goes back to London because he didn't have any more time off, so he had to go back to work. And but then he shows up at her sister's wedding, which is on a cruise ship, and it was super cute, just funny, lots of laughs, crazy characters, lots. I mean, just I laugh so much at her books. And the best part of the whole thing is I put my review up on Goodreads, and she and her Catherine Center and her husband Gordon both liked my review.
Yay!
So I fangirled a bit there. And I listened to the audio too. I got the audio, and so the audio, Patty Murin is the is the narrator, and she's so perfect for Catherine Center books. She just gets like the timing of the banter so perfect. That I'm just like driving down the road, just giggling the whole time because she gets it so perfectly. So that was like, I think that was probably my favorite of the month, just for a book that I just needed something light and fun and happy.
Yeah.
Of course, we read The Story Collector, kind of like, kept thinking it was kind of like an Irish Outlander kind of,
yeah. I like that.
I read The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez and did not love it.
That's the new one, right?
That's the brand new one.
I've heard that from a few people that they don't love
not their
it.
favorite of the bunch.
Yep.
I got it from Libby on release date because I had like tagged it on Libby like months ago, and I got it the day it was released. And it's like the trope is like my best friend's girlfriend. These guys are at like a concert, and this girl needs a ride home. She's like with a mutual friend of theirs, and the one guy offers to drive her home, and they end up starting to date, and the other guy like falls in love with her. It's like his best friend, and I don't know. It was like 80% of the book, like he's just pining for her, and they're doing all these things together, almost like her boyfriend is struggling with some situations, and So he keeps kind of pawning her off on his best friend to keep her company.
Mhm.
And like the best friend is like madly in love with her, but trying not to be because it's wrong for him to be in love with his,
Right,
best friend.
right.
Right.
And his best friend is like wanting to marry her. And he's like, okay, I'm totally screwed here.
Mhm.
And,
He's about to
you know,
destroy his best friend's life.
yes. So, but it just all the pining. It's like the same thing with that other book that she had, I think was Say You Remember Me, where they were,
Mhm.
Yeah.
where they they couldn't live in the same place and they didn't want to do long distance and all they did,
Yeah.
like the whole book was them whining about how they couldn't be together. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what this kind of felt like too. So, a little disappointing. The other one that was disappointing was the romance revival by Christina Lauren,
Mhm.
who I also usually love. Usually love their books. Okay, and
Mhm.
this one had like this science fiction thing to it,
Mm. Not your
where,
jam.
well, I just think the story was dragged down by it because
Mm.
it's about this couple and the wife is like a chemist or a scientist, and she tells her husband she's working on lasers, but really she's working on this super secret project for this machine that will like diagnose and repair all of your health problems.
Okay.
But she also is working on this super secret compound that will basically bring you back from the dead.
Hmm.
And her husband gets hit by a car. And even though this compound has not been tested, she uses it on him and it basically causes amnesia. Okay, so
That is very that does not sound
Yep.
like a normal Christina Lauren.
No.
no. And but like he remembers like these random things, like he's looking around their house, he doesn't remember her name or his name, but he's like, "Whoa, nice furniture, nothing from IKEA around here." And I'm thinking, if you
What?
have amnesia,
How
but
would
you're
you
not,
know what IKEA
You're
is?
right.
Or
yes.
yeah.
So
Selective amnesia.
I
Okay.
guess. And then they end up, they were struggling because she works so much. And so like this is their so it's like a second chance romance to a certain extent.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
think I would have liked it better without the whole like we can't tell anybody we use the secret compound on him because it's not FDA approved.
Hmm.
And
It's not
so,
ethical.
but I think if he had just gotten amnesia in like a normal way,
Yeah.
it could
Yeah.
have been a great
Yeah,
book.
yeah.
Yeah. There's too much going on. Too busy.
But
Hmm.
adding that whole like, well, wait, secret agents and stuff like
Yeah.
that part just dragged it down completely.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Um, my work book club read The Invisible Hour by Alice Hoffman, which is it was the first half of it was about this girl and like an abusive family. She runs away from her family. She ends up in this place called the Community, which is like a religious cult kind of thing.
Okay.
And the leader falls in love with her and she has his baby, but he's very manipulative and abusive. And the first half of it was really interesting. But then the second half goes into this time travel thing where she goes back in time and she goes to see Nathaniel Hawthorne because she loves his book.
Okay.
But so like everybody in my book club pretty much agreed like the first half was really interesting, and then all of a sudden the second half she was
Yeah.
back in time to the 1700s or whenever he wrote the book. And the other thing is there's very many pro-choice there's a lot of pro-choice
Okay.
commentary in there
Okay.
to where the point where like you feel like you're being, well, this is the
Preached at a little
graveyard
bit.
for women who didn't have a choice and had to have their babies. And
Mm.
it was just
Yeah.
it just I'm pro-choice. I have
Right,
no
right.
problem with that. But I just felt like, okay, you're, beating a dead horse here.
Yeah. A little too much
So,
or whatever.
Yeah.
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 Or like not fitting in with the narrative. Sometimes you're like, why are we saying that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Like, why
like,
is this
okay,
part right here?
you got your point across. Okay, we're good here.
Mhm.
Then the last two actually were two that I really, 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 really liked. Okay, so Kristen Higgins writes quote unquote women's fiction, and I hate that.
Yep. I know what
Mhm.
you're
I
talking
hate
about.
that term, but it's books where it's not just like all romance. It's also about like the woman's journey, and romance is a part of it. And
Mhm.
so she has 2 other books in this series about this family from Cape Cod. There's like 4 sisters and a brother. And so the youngest sister gets her book. And apparently it looks like Kristen Higgins must have changed publishers, and it looked like this book wasn't going to get written because
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
and then I guess her readers, like pushed for it. And it was so much fun. It was in book the previous book, there's this guy by the name of Dr. Santini, and he's a very, very successful surgeon and a total douchebag. And everybody at
That
the
tracks.
hospital calls him Dr. Satan. Okay.
Okay.
And so the youngest sister gets herself in a situation where she's a party planner, and she's been having this relationship with a chef from Provincetown in on Cape Cod, not knowing he's actually married, and he's using his middle name instead of his first name, so she doesn't know who he really is. And the wife calls her out at their child's 5th birthday party, and her business implodes. Nobody will have her do their
Uh-huh.
parties anymore because she's sleeping with a married man. So she needs a job. So she takes a job as an assistant to Dr. Satan. And he is just such an asshole. Such an asshole. But eventually you find out why. And
Okay.
he was a very smart little boy who at 7 years old was taken away went to live with his grandma to go to a special school for very smart little boys. And so he doesn't feel connected to the rest of his family because he
Okay.
like all the inside jokes, and you kind of find out, yes, he's incredibly smart, but in the inside he's really a sad little boy who misses
Yeah.
his brothers and
Uh-huh.
sisters. And it was just super sweet, and it just made me happy. And I
Hmm.
really liked that one. And then the last one was an arc. Actually, once in a blue moon, I got a audio, advanced audio, but it's
Oh,
out
nice.
now. Um, The Forgotten Midwife by Laura Anthony, and I talked about her other book, which was the Women on Platform 2. She's from
Oh,
Ireland,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
and this one is about Magdalene laundries in Ireland, where girls who were fallen women, in other words, they got knocked up, were
Mhm.
sent by their families because they had disgraced their families by getting pregnant. And they were basically held there in captivity.
Mhm.
And the nuns, they were convents. The nuns were horrific. The n I mean, I don't know if either of you ever had the joy of going to Catholic school, but, like,
No.
Yes, I did.
Did
I
not.
remember
Did not have that joy.
getting hit upside the head by Sister Martini because, her real name was Martina, but we called her Martini.
Martini.
Sister Martini, because I asked my cousin for a pencil or something.
Oh
So,
gosh.
um, well, imagine if these nuns, nobody's there to stop them, and, like, the physical and mental abuse, the just apparently, according to, like, the author's note, what she wrote is not as bad as what she read about. And what she
Oof.
wrote about
Oh
was
wow.
really
Okay.
bad,
That's
just
really bad.
unsanitary, physically abusive, and then the girls had to work in the laundries, like, washing sheets for, like, all the big hotels in Ireland,
Hmm.
to the point where, like, their hands were bleeding. They had to work
Ugh.
until they had their babies and then go back to work
Ugh.
right away afterwards, and if they died in childbirth, they got buried in an unmarked grave.
Mm.
And they couldn't leave unless a male, relative over 18 signed them out, and because most of the families are so disgraced by the fact that they had gotten pregnant, they were there for years after they had
Mhm.
their babies. It was just horrible, but it was such an interesting story, really well told, and that's probably another one of my favorites from the month. That one I forget when that comes out, I'll have to double check that, but
Hmm.
definitely one to watch. So,
That sounds good.
it
Yeah.
really was. It was Ireland, and
Yeah. I mean,
even though it was bad stuff about Ireland, it was still Ireland.
well, it's still history. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Oh, I know, but and it was really It was really interesting. So, last but not least,
Going from a very serious topic
right.
to several not so serious topics.
let's
Just
so what you
moving
got
on,
there, Kit?
go in a different direction, maybe a little bit.
A little bit.
I had 2 audiobooks this month. I've been listening to a ton of audiobooks, like just driving to and from work. It's like the world's shortest commute. It's like a 15-minute drive. But I do, drive. I did a road trip up to Steamboat. I go up into the mountains all the time. So there are some longer moments. I am like obsessively working my way through Frida McFadden's entire collection. I have liked every single one so far. I am avoiding the one that Marianne told me not to read, like the plague.
What one did you tell us you said wasn't as good?
The teacher.
The
Well, the
teacher.
teacher.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. More because we're teachers than that it's not
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
It's just
Yes, it's not that it's bad. It's just like,
uncomfortable for us, those of us
Uncomfortable,
who...
yes.
Yeah.
And I will say, I have a coworker, shout out to Erica. We were talking about Frida McFadden the other day. She has read that one too, and she's like, when you read it, like, so we all
Yeah.
have the same reaction to it. So I will probably listen to it eventually, but I have been warned. Here's the thing about Frida McFadden books. I remember exactly nothing the minute I stopped listening to it. Like they're super, super entertaining. Like I listen to podcasts and I listen to audiobooks as if I'm part of a conversation because I'm in the car by myself or
Right.
with my dog. I talk back to the books the whole time.
Yep.
And as I'm listening to it, super engaged, super enjoying it. And then I move on to the next book and I'm like, what was this book about? Like I have no recollection of it at all. And she's super popular and these books are amazing and like good for her, but they're like in one ear out the other, apparently.
and she's actually like a practicing MD.
Did you
Yes.
see that she revealed her real
She
identity
just revealed
today?
her real identity.
I
She
didn't see.
did.
I didn't see that part, but yeah, that she still practices medicine a couple days a week.
Like she does
Like
this
her-
like in her spare time.
Her name, she like said her name and everything.
Sarah, what was it?
Yeah.
I saw it earlier, but I didn't commit it to memory, obviously. But I did look it up. And then I listened to The Unwedding by Ali Condi. Does everyone remember Ali Condi?
Yeah. She
wrote
Matched, right?
Matched, the Matched
Oh yeah,
series.
yeah.
Which I
And we
didn't
were,
love.
yeah, I liked the first book, and then
Because it was
sorry,
very
Allie.
much...
It
was
went
very
downhill
much,
for me.
It was
from
like
there.
Delirium, and I liked Delirium better. So, yeah.
But we were just talking about her when I was in Michigan because we saw the Matched series was on one of the
Yep.
bookshelves.
Yep.
And then because Big Brother's always listening and the phone likes to give you things that you've just been
Mhm.
talking about, it was like, would you like to read The Unwedding by Ali Condi? And I was like, I do actually want to listen to
Yeah.
this. It was phenomenal.
Oh,
It was so good. It is a like locked location mystery. I forget, what do we call that the one time? Like where you're not in a locked room,
It's-
but like
Locked. Do we
locked
call it locked?
door.
Because it's really... They call it like a closed door, but we're like...
Closed.
that's
yeah.
something different.
But
So,
very similar to the hunting party, they're
Yeah.
trapped at a resort. So
Okay.
they're not like stuck in a room.
I
but
need to
they're
read
like
this. You've...
it's
It's
super
my
good.
number one trope.
And it the twists and turns were pretty good because you kind of think you have an idea who did it and why, and then in the end there's like just enough of a twist where you're like,
Yeah.
oh, like that one. So it was super good and the location was beautiful, and I'm going to talk about that portion later, but I really, really did like it. And then my totally normal books that I just read were The Way Out by Devin O'Neill. I'm going to talk about that one a lot later, but it is a memoir about, it's a survival story set in the Rockies, and it gets really kind of like crazy hectic and deep, but it is really good. I reread Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe because I saw it on the shelf in the library, and I was like, I do indeed want to read that again. It's, hefty. It's the tiniest little book, but it is a hefty read. Then I read The Story Collector. Not going to talk about that at all, really, because we have a whole episode about that
talked
one.
about it a lot.
And then the next two are books that I picked up when I was at Third Coast in Michigan. I bought so many books that I had to ship them home to myself.
Yes.
But these are the two that I took on the plane with me. Pizza Guys is by Vera West. This is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice set in a pizza shop. It's all poetry.
Oh, okay.
It is so cute. it, like, you immediately know who each character is supposed to be. Like, it's not a heavy lift in terms of, like, figuring out, like, what is going on. If you've read Pride and Prejudice, you will know exactly what's happening here. But it's set in, like, this kind of very tight-knit community, like, strip mall kind of thing, and the main family owns a pizza shop. And it's gender flipped, so the Bennets are a family of boys, and they're kind of set upon by people who maybe want to try and buy the location out from under them and develop it. And that's kind of where the Darcy Bennett, like, headbutting comes in. And Darcy's like this city girl that's about to come in and make lots of money, and she has to really rethink her priorities. But it is super, super cute. Sex Bomb is by Dylan Collins Dunbar. I want to love this book so badly because the story, first of all, he was hilarious.
He was hilarious. Yeah, he was
and
so
I got
funny.
2 of his books.
Yeah.
Secondly, the premise for this book, fucking bonkers. It is Tom Jones and, I'm going to blank on the second name. Please wait. Billy Preston. It is set in the 70s. They are vampire hunters
Oh my
in
God.
Las Vegas. And they are trying to hunt, like, the king of the vampires, who they believe is in Las Vegas at the time. So they both are in Vegas for other reasons. They have a previous mishap where they tried to kill the king and failed miserably. And this is like their shot. You know what I'm saying? And it's hilarious. And like every scene, you're like, what in fresh hell am I reading right now? My problem is it needs editing. Like, there are some spelling errors that like, and I'm horrible at spelling, as we all know. So if I'm like catching some of these grammatical errors, like, there's probably more than I'm not catching.
I wonder if he has an editor, because he's like, doesn't
I don't know.
even...
He's just like a dude.
Yeah, his wife is a musician. They're in a band together. They played at Third Coast. So they he like didn't have a real website. Like, his contact is all under the band. So part of me is like, I think he's just a guy like writing stories.
I think he's just writing books, and it's super fun. And I appreciate that for what it is.
Yeah.
Like, the spelling errors didn't really take me out of it, because I was like, whatever, this story is like crazy cakes, so and I'm crazy. Like all in. But it does, like, there was a couple where I was like, what? What is
and
that
he writes
say?
like, he's horror. Like, it's considered horror.
It's horror. And it's super gory. Like, but I mean, I loved it, but I wanted it to be like perfect.
Yeah.
And then I read a graphic novel called We Called Them Giants by Kieran Gillen, Stephanie Hans, and Clayton Cowles. This is a like post-apocalyptic story, survival story, where a teenage girl who she's adopted, like recently adopted. So a teenager who's been adopted, and all the kind of trauma and baggage that comes with that. But she awakens. She wakes up and almost everyone is gone. And she doesn't know how, she doesn't know why, she doesn't know what the heck she's supposed to do. She ends up kind of like hooking up with a classmate named Annette, and they have to struggle to survive. So there's like gangs, there's weather, these all sorts of this stuff. And then some giants appear on Earth, like giant aliens. And the story kind of shifts from there on, like, that's a whole different scenario that they were not prepared for. And the artwork is gorgeous. It is such a good book. And then lastly, here's my problem, friends. So I read, for my unhinged book this month, Forked by Ruth Cardello. And I think maybe my brain is just broken at this point from reading so many weird ass books, because I was like, there was so much plot happening that I was like, this is too much plot. Like, why? Like, the premise is that, you know, imagine a World War II super soldier and his unit are trapped in cutlery by the government. And the only way they can transform back is to hook up with a human woman. There's so much play here for it to be like crazy unhinged. And I think, you know, She picked Mercedes as the main character. She picks up this antique silverware set, and it's almost too. It's the silverware can be in human form, and she's like, "What? Like, did you just turn into a man, kind of a thing, or like, did you just turn into a fork?" And she's like, really has a preference for this one fork. It's like her favorite fork, but like
Of
to eat
course it
with.
is.
To eat with, Sarah. I don't know
Well,
what your
whatever.
preference is.
Sure.
But
Hey, we all have favorite cutlery,
we all
right?
I do. Yeah. Anyways, not like that. Don't be that way. Anyways, this is gonna sound so dumb. There's not enough sentient fork action. Like, well, if I wanted to read like if I'm trying to just read like a weird supernatural romance, I'll just read a weird supernatural romance. If you're telling me that this book is a sentient cutlery, there better be sentient cutlery. And
Okay.
her cautionary tale, or her cautionary like message literally says the spicy scenes in this novella are purely fictional. Please do not attempt to reenact any of them at home. I don't want to hear that my readers FAFO. That's forked around and found out.
Oh my God.
Tines hurt. Let's keep the forks on the table where they belong. So you read that and you're like, this thing is going to be like where turkey levels of batshit crazy. And then it was just kind of like a story. So, I mean, it was weird, but like I was expecting so much weirder. So I'm like, okay, well, it's unhinged, but like not that unhinged. Like it's not nearly the weirdest thing I've read since
It's no
we started
chicken
this podcast.
nuggets.
It's no chicken nuggets and sauce. It's no chicken nuggets and sauce. It's definitely not as weird as the Were Turkey. That has to be the weirdest one that I've read thus far. I should do a ranking on Substack.
Yeah.
The top
Maybe
10 weirdest books
at the
I've
end of
read.
the year, you need to be like, this is
here's the
unhinged.
weirdest nonsense that I've read this year. So it was weird. It has some sequels I did not read, Spooned or Knifed. Knifed just seems like a dangerous prospect, but you do you, girl. Like whatever you want to do, Mercedes, get at it, I guess. But it was good. But it wasn't as unhinged as I anticipated. So on that
Sad.
note,
Sad.
that it wasn't that
disappointing.
unhinged. Disappointed sign. Moving on to rapid fire questions.
All right.
Let's go.
First question. What character do you want to go on a road trip with, Marianne?
I would pick Cooper from The Shippers. He's the guy who stops the wedding, and he takes Jojo, the has-been bride, I guess you would say, on a road trip down to like Galveston Island, and buys her all the candy and ice cream that she can eat her feelings with. So
Smart man.
yes. So I would pick Cooper. How about you, Kit?
Even though we had a whole episode just about the Story Collector, if I'm thinking road trip, I want to go with Harold from the Story Collector. Not going to go super deep on it, but he travels the world collecting fairy stories. And that to me seems like the greatest adventure to just like hear people's stories and myths and legends and have that be your, not even just like a road trip vacation. Like that's your job. Like that sounds awesome. How about you, Sarah?
I said Patrick from The Gunkle. I feel like number one, he'd have a lot of stories to tell from his time on his sitcom. Number two, he knows how to make a good martini and have a good time, and the snacks. I feel like he would always have the appropriate food and drink and outfit for every portion of our road trip.
Like, prepared.
We have to stop before we have, dinner because we are not prepared dress-wise. We have to change our clothes or whatever, or I think he would.
Does he even drive? Would you have a driver?
We would have to have a driver too.
Have to have a driver,
or you would have to drive. So that you'd get a driver definitely.
Yeah, I would get a driver because we'd just be eating and drinking in the back seat and like chalking it up. And everything.
He likes a good brunch too. So
he does.
Brunch is great.
Brunch and dinner. That was his you don't actually eat real meals. You eat in between meals.
Yes. That's a good pick.
That's a good choice.
I was like, I love
solid
Patrick.
choice.
And we would just be in our caftans.
Yes.
We'd probably have loungewear. We would have loungewear. We would have matching loungewear in our car. Like
that sounds like the great to just swan around in your comfortable clothes, eating delicious food. That's how we should do Disney the next time we all go to Disney together.
Yes.
We should just wander around and like do Epcot and like caftans and like
Caftans.
muumuus and like
Do you think we could get fabric with our read, eat, travel, repeat
Oh,
pattern on it?
yeah.
or
And then
like a
make
like a
like
scarf or something like
yes.
like an accessory? Yes.
Then
Yep,
people
I
will
think
think
we
that we're
could.
actually somebody that
Like
we
super fancy podcasters.
I bought years ago this like moo thing at like Ross for like $10, and my kids referred to it as my African dance dress because it was kind of like that
the pattern too, like it
the
was bright
pattern,
colors
yeah.
and yeah,
But
yeah.
it was like so comfortable to sit around the house in. So
Go
it was
for
just
I
like
get it.
it was just like two giant rectangles, I think, that were sewn at the shoulder and along the
Yes.
sides, and it just
Oh my gosh.
So comfortable though, I'm sure.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, what's up next?
What places would you like to go in these books? Kit.
Picked The Resort at Broken Point, which is in Big Sur, and it's from the book The Unwedding. I would not want to be there during the events of the unwedding because there's like
Okay.
a natural disaster. They're stuck at the resort. People are dying. Like things are being so I don't want to be there for that. Although I would definitely get sucked right in. I feel like in a lot of books like this, the main character is somehow like deeply connected to the murder. I'm going sidetracking a little bit. This one, not at all. She's just kind of like the person that finds the body, and she's there by herself. She meets some fabulous people who are like, we should figure out who the murderer is because we're stuck here. So let's be like amateur detectives. And then they just get sucked into like trying to figure it out. And it's hilarious and terrifying all at once. So I wouldn't want to be there for that necessarily. But the resort, it's called the Resort at Broken Point because there's this cliff with these trees and it's beautiful and there's all sorts of hiking. But the things that I liked about the way they described the resort the most is there is a like an art curator who creates or who purchases art and like very strategically installs it around the resort. So some of it's
Okay.
in rooms, some of it is out on the trails, and they all have meanings to the location. So there's a spot where people are supposed to have weddings. This is an unwedding. And like there's a sculpture that's like an altar and like a
Ooh.
dais. And like so but you can get like a map and go on like a scavenger hunt for
Of
art.
all the
And that sounds super cool to me.
Huh.
I was like, oh, you'll hike all over this resort and like see these beautiful artworks, like museum style with like little information cards and like how does it connect to the land? How does it connect to the landscape? Why did we decide to put this right here? I was like, I would be down for that like any day of the week. So I would pick to go there. How about you, Sarah?
I said Ireland, duh.
Of course.
County Clare, specifically where the Story Collector takes place. I've not been that far north in Ireland, so I'm very intrigued by it. Also, when I was searching to remember where, there is a hawthorn tree called the Latoon Fairy Bush that was saved from destruction in 1999, and I can't believe we did not find that.
Yeah.
Like when we
Like
were
last-
talking,
2
I was
weeks
like,
ago.
that's gotta
Yeah.
be literally what it was. It was
Right.
literally slated to be taken down for a new highway. Instead, they've split the highway and it goes around the hawthorn
So
tree.
that had to be the inspiration.
I was
for
like
that part.
99. That
Yeah,
has to be.
like,
and
that
it
has to be
literally
it.
was like in County Clare.
Yeah.
So it would make a lot of sense.
It needs
Anyway.
to be painted. We've had it for like 2 years. It hasn't been painted yet. So
All right. So Marianne, where would you go?
I know you're expecting me to say Ireland, which of course
What?
would just be so predictable. But I don't know, the shippers. I've been on a couple Disney cruises, and I would like to see more of the Caribbean. I never know the right way to say it, so I always say it both ways. So I kind of feel like I'd want to go on a cruise, and like I don't know, they go on like a 7-day cruise. I don't know if I want to be on a cruise ship for 7 days, but I think I just kind of
That's a lot.
Like
I
a
wanna
3 or a 5 day, maybe.
Yeah.
Like
But I read a book a few years ago called Float Plan, and it's about like this woman who takes off in a sailboat to go see she has like this whole trip planned out that she and her fiance were going to do, and then he kills himself and she goes out on her by herself. And I've just really wanted to see more of the Caribbean after reading that.
Yeah.
And so after reading the shippers and reading about the cruise, I kind of want to go on another cruise, but I don't know. Yeah, I want to, but I don't. I'm very, very conflicted about it, but that's going to be my choice.
I
So-
want to do either an Alaskan cruise
Yes.
Oh yeah.
or I want to do a European, like a Viking
Yeah.
cruise that goes
Mhm.
down like where
Like
you
the river.
Yeah, a river cruise where you stop at all the cities along the way.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I've heard about going to Alaska, the cruise is the only way to do it because
Yes.
that way you
you
get
can
to
see
You have
so
to
much
be-
more.
yeah.
see so
and-
much
yeah.
more that way.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
either
so,
have to like go to like a very like you're going to one spot and staying there, or you're
Yes.
doing the cruise thing.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
always, anytime I think of Viking river cruises, though, it's like so in my brain connected to Wheel of Fortune. Like, because I
You know,
remember
that's
watching-
what they always
it was
give away.
right, like it was always like the giveaway. It was like, and for you, a Viking river
Viking
cruise.
cruise.
I, like that was my only like reference to
suckers
it
are
growing up, and then I was like, it's like a
expensive.
real thing. Like
They
when I got
are
old enough to like look it
expensive.
up, I was like, dang, you could like really just go on one of those. I thought it was like a like made up thing for their show.
Yeah, no. One of my coworkers, his mother, who's like in her 80s, took like I don't know 10 members of the family
Oh
on
my
one of
gosh.
those last year.
Ooh.
Like, yeah,
Yikes!
like my coworker and his wife and his adult daughter and like his sister who used to work with me and her husband and I don't know. It was like crazy. I was like, I can't even imagine how much that cost.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. How about
So-
you, Marion? Where would you didn't answer it?
Yeah, I
The
did.
cruise.
The
That's why we
cruise.
got on the
Oh,
cruise.
That's how we got on the cruise.
So
What?
we've
'Cause
all-
my brain.
yeah.
I'm so tired. My brain
So-
is like what?
Last
Okay,
next
s-
question. What character would you want to have dinner with, Marianne?
Pick Dr. Satan from Once in a Blue Moon. Well, first of all, the food, the restaurant would be like exquisite. This was a
Mm.
man who his body was a temple and he didn't eat anything besides like broiled chicken and vegetables and sparkling water. But if he went out, he was going to take you to a nice place. Now, the fun part of it would be that he would probably criticize my posture and whatever I was wearing and my table manners. But it would just be fun to kind of set him off, though, too. Like just
Right.
purposely
Yeah.
talk with my
Yep.
mouth open just to set
Yep,
him
all
off.
that. Yeah, all the triggers.
Especially in like in the first half of the book when he's really a jerk. And then the second half of the book, you find out he's not really as much of a jerk as you think. But
Yeah.
super cute. So that's who I would pick. How about you, Sarah?
I said Maggie Walsh from The Story Collector. She was the seeress
Yep. Yes.
or the witch.
Mhm.
I want her to tell me all the lore, literally and
Yeah.
figuratively, as the children say. We want to know the lore. No, I literally want to
That's
know
literally- I
all
wanna
the
know all
lore.
the lore.
Literally.
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 Just I think she had so many cool stories that I would be like, she just seems to
Yeah.
be the expert on the crazy fairy stories and stuff about Ireland. So Kit, how about you?
I picked Las Vegas Buffet with Tom Jones and Billy Preston from Sex Bomb because if that is an option that I can pick, that's what I'm going with. I want to know all the celebrity gossip
Mhm.
and all of who is a vampire because
yeah.
the author like just peppers in other celebrities that are like, and he's a vampire, and you're like, of course he is.
Of course, I knew it.
I knew he would be.
And
so
it's a-
that
That's
It's a
why they're known
buffet.
age. They say
a
it's
buffet.
they say it's
Yeah.
they say it's
Yeah,
plastic
plastic
surgery, but
surgery,
really
but-
they're vampires.
Well, have
Mhm.
you seen how many like? There's always like, oh, Daniel Radcliffe, but like in 1890, it looks just like him. But
Yes.
all the
Yeah, yeah,
pictures
yeah,
of
yeah.
people throughout time that look like
Yes.
Nicolas Cage,
Yes.
like he's a vampire. I think
He
was a vampire.
literally, yeah.
Yeah.
Many
All right.
people.
Yeah, so many. Top recommendations for this month, Sarah.
I always struggle with this, but I literally read so many different genres that I feel like my pick would be like, oh, if you like YA,
you
then
like
read
this,
the Delirium
yeah.
series.
Mhm.
But I kind of went with my overall pick. It was tight. My Husband's Wife by Alice
Mhm.
Feeney, just because I'm really into that. But also The Deep End. If you're into that, you got to read it. It was really good. But My Husband's Wife. I just am such a thriller kick right now, and Alice Feeney is my favorite. Marianne.
Actually, both of mine are ARC, so I guess I'll put them on my on our bookshop.org TBR. The shippers for fun. Like I said, Catherine Center, excellent banter, funny characters, funny situations, just laugh out loud funny. what is but then sometimes too it gets a little poignant too. So it's not just all fun and games. Sometimes there's some serious stuff going on. So that one for fun. And then The Forgotten Midwife, just for like a same sort of thing, completely different genres, just to like to deep dive into history and kind of, thinking about like women's issues, women's history, and how women were treated
Yeah.
back in the day, that they had no agency whatsoever, and that their families leaving them behind because they dared to get pregnant because,
Yeah.
it was an immaculate conception, nobody
Of
else was
course.
involved in it, but they get all the brunt of it. So those would be my two. What about you, Kit?
I picked The Way Out by Devin O'Neill. I don't read a ton of nonfiction, and mostly I get like survival stories when I'm reading nonfiction, or like history of the West, like kind of books. It's also what I listen to when I'm listening to podcasts. I don't listen to a lot of book podcasts. Sorry, everybody. But I listen to a ton of like I survived kind of
Yeah, yeah,
stories.
yeah, yeah.
I get like really into that kind of stuff. I'm working my way through hold on, I'm gonna click on another window. I was recommended the Dan Becker podcast, and it's all interviews with people who have survived like animal attacks or like natural disasters. I get super sucked into those. So I saw this book and picked it up. It's autographed, so I was like super excited about that. And it's set in the Rocky Mountains, Colorado. People who are listening to this podcast, near Salida. My New York mentality wants me to say Salida, but I think it's Salida. Someone will correct me because people here are really, really
Yeah.
hardcore about the pronunciation of their towns.
Yeah.
But what I really liked about this one is there's the survival story. It's a couple of friends and their dads go to a remote hut to do some backcountry skiing. And one of the dads and then one of the kids, but not his kid, like they were kind of like the
Oh,
stronger
okay.
skiers,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
get lost. They ski out from the remote hut, they get lost, and then it becomes a rescue mission. But interspersed in those stories are flashbacks to like, why do people care about these? Like, why are you telling us this
Yeah.
story? Like, why should we care about this dad? Why should we care about this kid? Who are they as part of this like very tight knit mountain town? So I really liked how they pieced it together, because by the time you find out kind of the outcome, you're super invested
Yeah.
in not just the people that are lost, but their families that are going to be impacted. So
Yeah.
I thought it was phenomenally written. So if you're into kind of that like survival story or wilderness survival, is a really good book. Yeah. All right. So that is our stack of books for the month. What do we got coming up next? Sarah.
I jumped back into The Boys of Tommen. I'm into book 3, Saving Six, which is Joey and Aoife's story. It goes way back, like how they first met before Shannon was even, she was, I think Joey's like 14 when they meet or something like that. So it goes way back. And then I'm listening to Without a Hitch by Portia McIntosh. I discovered her. She has a lot of free Audible books. So funny. Such funny
Yeah.
rom-coms. Like, I laugh out loud. The premise is always something absolutely crazy. They're pretty hot and steamy in a good way, and it just usually I often take place on like amazing fantasy islands kind of thing. So it's just like a super fun romance to listen to. So, how about you, Marianne?
I'm listening to. I'm reading Theo of Golden. I'm pretty just started it. It's like a really trendy book right now. As far as it's about an old man. He's like 86 years old, and he moves to this little town in Georgia. So I'm really not sure what's going to happen with it. He's got some kind of a secret, but I don't know what it's going to be. So I'm pretty new to it. And then I'm listening to Project Hail Mary. I started reading Project Hail Mary and I was ready to give up on it. There was like so much science, and everybody told me to listen to it. And what a difference. The audio is hilarious.
The narrator is so good. His voice is just so like matter of fact and like.
Oh, but you know who he reminds me of? His voice reminds me of is Matthew Norman.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's just so, yes, he's so funny. And I was just like,
Yes.
I guffawed today when he's like, first thought he was making contact with alien life. And he's like, I don't know what to call them. Who would have thought the first time we make contact with alien life, I have to worry about their pronouns, And,
I'm
and I
glad
was
you're
like,
liking the audio. I'm glad you're liking the
yeah,
audio. I
yes,
feel
because
like the science stuff, the way the narrator talks too,
yes, it doesn't.
it's you can kind of zone out a little bit because it's like inner monologue of him going, okay,
Yes,
so if I take this math and I do this and blah blah blah, and then maybe I could get that, but then I don't know, that doesn't make sense, and you can just kind of
what
go
a
along without
difference.
understanding it, but
Because I'm reading it, and he's talking about this really fine needle, and the things are like 10 microns across. I'm
yeah,
like, I only made it to biology, and then I never took science again. So
yeah,
I don't know what,
Like,
and
yeah.
I never took physics. I never took chemistry. I don't know what any of this stuff is. And in college, I took like the science for dummy classes, like
yeah.
That's
food
what I
and
did too.
food and nutrition and sex and reproduction. So
Mhm.
but yeah, on audio, having so much fun with it. And actually, I think I'm going to go see the movie on Tuesday with a
I
couple
would
of my
say
book club
go
ladies.
see the movie. It is so good. I cried.
That's what
I
I've heard.
teared up
So,
like 3 times. It's so good. And I loved that book. That was my top read last year, so
did you read it or listen to it?
I listened to it.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
same
reading it
thing. So
was
I
like
loved it.
so dull.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
I mean there was funny parts, but
Yeah.
so dull.
Yeah. I
Okay,
just like how it's narrated and yeah. So
and
Kit,
how about Kit?
So I'm listening to yet another Freida McFadden book. I'm
surprise,
listening
surprise.
to Dead Med. This one's set in a college, um, a medical school. The medical
Oh,
school is nicknamed Dead Med because every year at least one student overdoses because of like
oh,
overpressure or whatever.
Okay.
And it's dual narration, but it's not back and forth and back and forth. So I was
Okay.
like super confused when I saw there was 2 narrators, but the first like hour is all the girl, but then it jumps to the boy's perspective and goes back. So you
Okay.
have all these questions of like, cause you only have what the
Yeah.
girl knows, what Heather knows. And you're like, the fuck is going on? Like, when do we hear who's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
alternate one? And then it's her current boyfriend. Oh my God, I'm gonna blank on his name. But it goes back to the first day of school, and now you're getting all these other little pieces thrown in. And I was like, oh, that's so. I don't know that I've listened to or read a book that was split
Yeah.
in that big of a chunk.
yeah.
Where
Usually
like you have almost a half a storyline and like a half of the story plot, and then you just go back to the beginning. So I'm liking that so far. I'm only about halfway through the male perspective of the first part, but it's good so far. And then I'm reading a fantasy book that my friend Brittany recommended me. It is massive. It is going to take me forever to get through, but it's called A Crown of Ivy and Glass. It's by Claire Legrand. It's really good. It's kind of a one of my favorite books ever is The Mists of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley. It has kind of that vibe to it that there's like this hidden world where they're called the Roses in this book, but these women that are kind of, I don't want to say taken from their families because they go willingly, like it's not like they're being snatched.
Yeah.
But they go when they're pretty young and they're trained up to kind of like wield magic, but in this case also be these like super fierce warriors. But the story, there's a series of books. There's 3 sisters. One sister is a Rose. The other 2 are still at home. But the sister that's a Rose took the place of her other sister. And this book is from the point of view of the sister that was left behind.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of like survivor guilt, but also a little bit of jealousy because like it's kind of cool, but it's also kind of horrible. And I'm only about halfway through the book. I'm going to say halfway. I'm not even close to halfway. Like the more I think about it, I feel like I've been reading it forever, but like I'm not halfway. But it's super, super interesting so far. And my friend is on book 2 now and she's like, it's so good. So like, I'll probably end up reading the whole thing. And then I need to find my next unhinged read. I don't really know where to go with this because I feel like I'm a little bit jaded on the unhinged reads. So I don't have any.
I was looking at
Choices.
that, wondering if maybe you should surprise us.
Yeah, I think I
Like,
might just see what I
Fine,
find.
because you don't have a theme. You don't know.
I have
Just
a
see what's out
theme.
there and just
Yeah,
shock
go for it.
us.
Yeah. Because I'm like, the last couple have been just meh. I need to find
Mhm.
something like totally weird.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I was thinking of that I might go back to reading, because Marianne, you were talking about Christina Lauren, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. My first ever kind of like kinky read was their, oh God, what was the name of the series? Hold on. The Wild Seasons series, where
Oh,
each of the
okay.
guys has like a main book. I might go back and like reread some of those.
I
Like
think they
those books forever ago.
just might have re-released them in like new covers and
I
stuff.
think they did. Because
Yeah.
I looked on the website and I was like, oh, those are way prettier than when I read
Yeah.
them like 10 years ago. So I might go back and read some of those.
Yeah.
That's it for what we
The
got
wrap
coming
up.
up next.
Yeah.
All right.
Time for the wrap up.
Well, if you haven't caught some of our recent episodes, like The Story Collector by Evie Woods, or a few of our past deep dives and monthly recaps, this is your sign to go back and get lost in them. Plus, if you haven't read our beginning ones, I've been going back through and trying to remaster them a little. And as we've gotten better at this podcast thing, have better equipment,
technology.
better
Yeah.
technology. I'm much better at editing. I'm like, why do I have so many pauses in this episode? So yeah, go back and re-listen to those. You'll be entertained.
Interesting. And we've got something new, our RETR Substack, where we keep the
Yeah.
conversation going with behind the scenes thoughts, bonus content, and all the things we didn't quite fit into the episodes. So don't forget to follow along, subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform, and leave us a review. We genuinely want to know what you think. And yes, we will absolutely read it.
100%. Follow us on Substack.
Yeah.
All right. Did a book from this episode instantly become a must buy? You're in good company. This episode features all the books we read in the last month, and if you too want your TBR to grow exponentially, all while supporting independent bookstores, hit up our bookshop.org storefront. You can shop the titles we talked about today, plus all of our featured books for the past year. It's been a whole year.
I know.
Wow.
And I know, it's crazy. Plus some extra special pre-orders that we can't wait to talk about. Our website address is bookshop.org/shop/RETR-book club, or head to our website. Link is in all of our bios, and the link to our bookshop storefront is right on the front page. So shop smart, shop indie, read recklessly.
So until next time, keep reading.
Keep exploring.
And don't forget to pack snacks. Woo woo. Yeah.